let's kind of talk about your reasoning behind adding some agents now, and you kind of are following what we've always preached. We didn't want, like when you first came to us and first started having really good success, when you had a month or two of really top performance, that seems to be where a lot of guys start thinking, well, now I want to recruit all these downline agents. Or with a lot of these guys, before they ever have any success, they'll come on, they'll figure out how to get contracted, and then they'll start wanting to recruit their buddies. And we've always discouraged that because we always say that we don't want the blind leading the blind. We want you to become a huge producer yourself. Then if you want to recruit, that's the time to do it. And that way we can bump your contracts up to where you don't have to put agents at, 80 and 90% contracts and try to get them started with a handicap that you didn't have yourself. So that's kind of the point where you're at now is, you've got bumped up to some monster producer contracts because you've been a monster producer, and you and your partners are now looking for some agents, and you've got a few already looking for. How many more agents would you ideally like to get over the next couple months?
Well, we're not looking for a whole lot of agents. We don't want 1,000 agents or anything like that. We just a few, that are. We're kind of going to be like a special agency. We're just a few that are willing to, follow the process and that are capable and that want to learn how to do it full time. I don't want part time, and that are motivated, that just want to put up some really big numbers.
You don't want guys that have got their focus on some other job and they want to try to dabble with this on Saturdays or their day off or something and test the water.
No.
You're not.
No. I want to dive in with both feet, and just like I'm going to be diving in for them, training them, and making sure they get brought up to hit these same exact thing. Just reproduce what I'm doing. Same exact thing. Same.
Yeah. Ideally, some of your best agents will come from these other. You've got a lot of agencies out there that are heavily advertised, and they're all over, LinkedIn and Craigslist and Indeed.com and all these recruiting sites, and they just advertise all over the place. And I guess the reason they have to advertise that much is that they start them at a much lower commission than what you started at. They're going to be some of them start at 50, a whole lot of them start at 80 and 90, and they're just on cut rate commissions, and that's not your model, right? You're going to put them at basically what most people call street levels. It's going to be 115% the day they sign up before they've sold their first policy, and 120 on some of them, and even I know Americo even has 125 day one on those commissions, and that's basically going to be your model, right?
That's right. So starting levels is going to be 115 average, the 125 on the Americo. Oxford's now got a really good product, so agents might not want to. They might want to write a lot more Oxford since their underwriting or their phone interviews a lot easier these days.
That one is going off like a rocket. That new phone interview they've got going is going well. We had our fingers crossed on that. We kind of helped them come up with that they needed to do that. They had the worst phone interview in the world, and we wrote a lot of production with them for the years that we've been with them, but we kept telling them, we tell Transamerica the same thing. If Transamerica would refine their app and maybe even do an e-app, their product, even though it sells great now, it would double. That's all they have to do is make a convenient app. Oxford was that way with their phone interview. If you guys would just fix this horrible phone interview, this would be the best product on the market. And finally they listened. They finally did it. And up until this month, we had our reservations whether it was going to be as good as it sounded like, but all the feedback is fantastic on that one. Now they're actually located right out there where you're at, right? Out in Arizona.
Right. Yeah, they're out here. It's a good company. It's a really easy sale. It's starting agents, starting them at 120 with Oxford. It's a really, but we don't care who you sell. If you want to sell America or whatever, that's fine. We're not going to micromanage in that sense. You can sell any company you want to.
And you've got, like, when you sign up an agent, how many companies do you think you'll have them appoint with? Usually 6 or 7, you think?
Probably around 6 or 7. Yeah. I mean, whoever they need, whoever they want, but we can get anybody they want. But for starters, that should be a good amount to have in their bag, in their quiver. That should cover most of everything. So.
And then once they get going, do you recommend that agents kind of pick a main company that they will write as their number one, and then it just seems like it's easy to teach them once you pick out your main company, like say if Oxford was your main, and you start learning, okay, where is Oxford's points where I can't use Oxford? Like if they are younger than 50 would be one. Oxford doesn't take anybody under 50. So they would have a backup company that would go down to age 0. So it might be Transamerica, might be Settlers, might be, can't think of the name, Standard Life and Casualty, they go down to 0. But they have to fill the weaknesses of their main with their backups. That's kind of the idea of having that kind of a structure to the training. Is that the way that you recommend doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they should have a go-to company that they like and lead with, and whatever doesn't fit, you place it wherever it does fit. Yeah,
it's easy for a new agent to come on and figure things out that way rather than having 10 companies that are all equal and you can't remember. Once you learn your main, which comes pretty quick, then you know what you need for your backups, and that's where they can just call you and say, hey, I keep running into COPD and Oxford doesn't take COPD. Then you just teach them one time. We'll put Transamerica in your case or KSKJ or whatever, depending on what state they're in, and that takes your COPD. All of a sudden they're equipped for that, and then once they get just a few little knowledge bits that they need to learn, they've got a case that anything they run into, they've got a company right there to go to for it.
Yeah, absolutely. They should definitely get to know their go-to company ins and outs. Get to know that application well. And then once you know one company, the rest kind of come easy because you'll know what you use the others for. It's an easy way to learn. I think it's a fast way to learn.
And it makes sense to have a reason for the companies you're carrying in the house with you. You don't need 2 companies that are exactly alike. If they take the same thing and they both have the same weaknesses, you only need one of those.
Right.
Now, how important are competitive premiums to you? You hear all sorts of things. Now, you said earlier that you use FEX quotes for your quoting, so you compare rates that way. And you already mentioned it was real important to you to give them one of the lower priced companies on each appointment that would approve them. That just seems obvious to me, but do you hear from agents that every once in a while you hear of an agent say, I can sell any company. Doesn't matter if they're, the guys that sell Lincoln Heritage are a perfect example. I'm pulling up a quote right here right now on a 77-year-old male, and you've got Oxford quoting this thing at 106, and Lincoln Heritage is $147.40. That's a big difference. That's $40 difference on a $10,000 policy. What's your thoughts on that? Is there any way in the world you could sell Lincoln Heritage or any company that has just really higher than normal rates?
No, I personally, I don't think I wouldn't enjoy what I do as much. The reason I'm able to, I would say, sell as much is because I truly believe in the product that I'm giving them. I truly believe I'm giving them a service. And most of the times, if they had something, I'm saving them money. So I don't think I'd be a happy camper if all I can offer was, higher price product. I don't think I'd be a good fit there.
It just seems like a huge advantage for an agent out there in the field these days because it's competitive out there. I mean, any state, any area, you're not ever on an island by yourself. You've got tons of other agents you're competing with, plus you've got all the mail order stuff and the TV advertised stuff, the Globes, the ARPs, all of them. They're all trying to compete for this same customer. And I just can't imagine it's not a huge advantage to be able to sell, these companies with these lower premiums, meaning, Oxford, you've got Life Shield, you've got KSKJ, Security National, Trinity, Family
Yep.
Benefit, and, those companies just beat the rates. And when you get these higher premium companies, I just can't imagine it's not a huge advantage as far as making the sale, but then also on your persistency, I would think your policies stay on the books easier because there are always going to be other agents coming in behind you, and how are they going to replace, an Oxford policy or Standard Life, if all they've got is a high-priced company. How persistent is your business? Have you had any problems with business falling off?
No. Last time I checked, it was 94% persistency with KSKJ.
That's your number one.
That is my company that I like to use. But Oxford's got it. All those companies you mentioned are going to just club over the head these higher priced companies. I mean, $10, $20 gaps. Your customer is going to leave you for $10, $20. Within $1 or something like that, and their customer you might not get a replacement. But those higher priced companies, I come in $10, $20, even $5 sometimes cheaper, you're going to lose that business. And that's where we have an advantage, just having all those great carriers that are low price, so hard to replace. Who's going to replace you? You can't. Then we have, KSKJ is a price buster for us. KSKJ is a good company. I got their Agent of the Year last year, I believe it was.
You were number one. You were the top guy with KSKJ. You got treated like a king at the convention. That's a neat thing about KSKJ too that I've never seen that any other company do. KSKJ wants every single agent that writes them to go to their convention. They want to make their convention easy enough to win that nobody's left behind unless they just didn't make an effort. And this year I think it takes 40,000 to win their convention, and 40,000 with them is easy because normally a company that's at 40,000 win convention, they're kind of a mid-packer on rates. I mean, this is a company that beats the rates plus has a great graded plan that's priced as low as the guaranteed issue plans. So, any agent that you put on that wants to win their convention is going to win it. And, you guys are going to be one of the few distribution points for KSKJ. We've had a pretty exclusive contract with them ourselves, which has been really nice. There's a couple other agencies that have them, but mainly they're focused on traditional life and other things. They're not really final expense agencies. And they've always not wanted us to they don't want a whole flood of agents that just dabble in final expense. If we put an agent, they want to know this guy's going to write at least an app a week. They don't want people dabbling with it. They just don't want a million agents. They kind of have the same philosophy that we do. So, we've not been able to really put downline agencies that could recruit for KSKJ. We get calls all the time of agencies wanting it. It's been no. But since you have been their top agent, they made an exception for you guys because they know that you can recreate yourself. They like that. They want a guy like you that loves KSKJ and knows how to sell KSKJ and believes in them, and then they want you to put extra guys down and train them to do what you do. And the great thing about it is, it's gotten you a high enough contract. You can put everybody at the same contract you were at when you were selling all this product, and now they can do the same thing and follow your lead.
Yeah, absolutely. KSKJ carries a big crowd when they go on their trips because it's, as you said, it's kind of a very attainable goal to hit. They're a good company. So,
and I didn't, when I mentioned those rates a minute ago with Oxford and Lincoln Heritage, I didn't even mention KSKJs because I don't want to make these guys cry in the states that they're not in. But here's where they stand. Oxford is at 106. They're one of the lowest priced companies. Lincoln Heritage was at 147. KSKJ is at $91 on that case.
Yep.
All three are selling whole life, policies, guaranteed rate, never going to expire. This isn't mail order stuff that's going to raise when they turn 80 years old or any of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that is a huge advantage to have, and it's going to help you guys a lot.
Absolutely. If someone already had a decent policy, you can't replace it. But if you have KSKJ, you left that house with the policy. Just if all year long, that's just such a benefit to have. You'll end up making more money. It just allows you to capture all that premium that if you didn't have them, you'd have to just leave alone. They're a really, really good tool to have.
Yeah. Okay, so what other things are you going to be doing for your agents? You say you're looking for about maybe 10 at the most good agents. You've already got a few of those seats filled. Is there any certain states that you do want or don't want, or what exactly are you looking for?
I think any state is good. What we don't want is, so we don't want somebody, sell a couple policies, like you said, just go contract their buddies. We're not trying to do any kind of pyramid recruiter and like that. I just want somebody that really wants to learn how it's done and just help.
You want guys that want to sell insurance. You want guys that want to sell insurance, not guys that want to build a pyramid.
We just want to be the agency for agents that want to hit the next level.
Yeah. Okay.
Both of us, me and Jeff, were, two of the top agents in the country. So we both can sell. We both put up big numbers. My style of training is a little different. I used to do, I used to do Travis' presentation and then I started incorporating some of JD's presentation but I didn't mess with it until I was successful with it alone. And then I build on it and I've kind of formed, I've Jose'd it, as JD says, but that's when my presentation is kind of in my own style, and I believe it works for a lot of people. But if for some reason it just wasn't the right fit for a certain individual, I would say try Jeff's presentation. It's completely different. See, he's got a different. He still puts up big numbers, but his pace is different. He's at a faster pace. So just two different styles. One of the two is going to work for someone. If by chance I didn't. So
people don't have to follow a cookie cutter. Once they get going, you're going to teach them the structure of what you do. But once they start having success, it always evolves a little bit into their own words and their own styles and things like that. But the important thing is you want guys that want to learn how you're doing this so successfully. You don't want guys that already feel like they've hit their stride and they're going to keep doing what they're doing and not be trainable. Is what you're saying, right?
Right. Even if it's a good producer, produces 100, 150, close to 200, I think I could still get that better for them. I could still take them to the next level. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want 100 mediocre agents. I want 10 good ones. Yeah. And that are under us, and not to ignore them. I want to give them attention and really dive into bringing them up.
And that's really doable. With a guy like you can take a guy, and we got a new one yesterday came on with us. He writes about $100,000 a year. But the way he's working is not efficient. His leads have not been efficient. He's not setting appointments. And we've done this many times. We can take that guy, because he is a worker, he's just not doing things real efficiently, and we can turn him into a $200,000 guy without him working very much harder than what he's already doing, just by getting his lead flow consistent, getting his leads on a certain day each week, structuring his week, setting appointments instead of door knocking everything. And that's the same thing you're doing, is putting them into a proven formula that they can work more efficiently. Usually that's the difference between a 100,000 producer and a 200,000 producer, is that 100,000 guy works the way I used to work. It was inefficient. You weren't doing
Right.
the things that the guys like you are doing to sell more policies.
And it's really minor adjustments, like you say. I mean, so long as they're willing to change that about themselves. It's my style is very no wasted moves. I from how I would even say your appearance, coaching them from their appearance all the way to how they call their leads, teach them how to set their appointments, what to say, what objections, how to overcome those, till when they're in the car, how they should walk up to the door. Just every minor detail will just keep adding to the sale. It just compounds on itself, and they're watching you. I might quote a lot of things that I hear, but that's because I listen. Somebody said, I think JD again, they're watching you when you pull up. They can see you most of the time.
Yeah.
If you get out of the car, you got a purpose, you grab your bag, you're walking like you got somewhere to be, that all adds credibility to you. That's all going to help you make a sale. Your good eye contact, where you sit, when you look at, it's all but I do the same thing in every house. It seems like a lot of things, but it's not. Once you get it, and you just do the same thing in every house. And it sounds natural. It's not scripted. There's no way of telling that they don't know you did the exact same thing 10 houses before them, everything from the way, and all the way up to the way they put in their application. If they don't know how to fill out an application, that's fine. Teach them how to do that. I'd rather get someone green, don't know nothing, and train them than someone that's already made, tell you the truth, but someone's already made willing to get coached. It's fine too. But I tell you, the people that are new can be very well coached as long as they're willing.
Well, you and Jeff both have to be experts at filling out those apps, because I know you both write a lot of Transamerica, and that's the most difficult app in the business. And if you're writing a lot of that, and you're not doing a lot of rework and going back and forth, that's you got some attention to detail with those apps.
Yeah, absolutely. Transamerica is my second go-to company. I probably have the biggest stack of them. I wrote, 424 apps last year. Probably a good third of that might have been Transamerica. So, I don't know. That's a lot of Transamerica. I don't know. But Jeff wrote, I think something like 400 applications too, like 399. That's a lot of practice.
Yeah. Now, one obstacle that we always have a difficult time with, and especially like out there in the areas that you and Jeff are in, where you're in California and Arizona, Texas, is, the majority of our agents are dead in the water when they get a lead card and they call it or go out there and everybody speaks Spanish. Nobody speaks English. You've got a definite advantage on those that you can help the agents with, right?
Absolutely. There's agents that work areas that have a lot of Spanish speaking, and sometimes they'll just they'll call my phone, I'll answer, and they say, hey, I got so and so on the line. Can you kind of explain to her what we're doing, or about the card? I'm here at the porch or something. And I talk to them, and next thing you know, they're in the house on the table. I'll be able to help a lot with that. Again, I just want to be as accessible as possible to everybody on the team, and in any way.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage, because agents, RGI and the other mail houses that we use, they feel like it's as good a filter as they can do that the lead card is printed in English, but there's still just a certain number of them that you get responses on, and then it turns out that no one in the home speaks English. So that's a huge advantage to be able to have someone to interpret when an agent occasionally gets those and struggles with it, because there's sales to be made, there also. It's just you've got a language barrier. Well, I think we've covered really your background, how you work, and why you're successful. Let me kind of go over again, people that don't know you, that haven't heard of you before, what proof we have that you are successful. Last year, 2017, you were the #1 agent in the universe with KSKJ. And that's a big achievement because you're going up against some guys that love that company. You beat out JD, you beat out Sharon, you beat out Tony. I can't think of Tony's last name, but a lot of guys have been big hitters with them.
Yeah.
So you're Mr. Universe there.
Agent of the Year award, and then also a second award. It was all-time or world record holder. That's what.
Yeah,
I got the world record holder award.
You're the top agent of all time with them. So you're going to have a lot of people gunning for you this year. You better not take your foot off the gas pedal. You're going to be yesterday's news in 2019. You've won 2 conventions with them. You've won a convention, a Bahama cruise in 2017. You've been to Jamaica, and then where else did you go? Cancun, was it?
Dominican Republic. So they're fun trips.
Yeah. And then you were our #1 agents. I mean, there's just the numbers are there. You're hitting the numbers. You're doing things. You're not just had your first month and starting to build a downline. So I'm happy to be a part of your success and to watch you build this thing. And you and Jeff both, you deserve all this success you can get. So how can agents get a hold of you if somebody's interested in talking to you about the opportunities that you're offering? How do they get a hold of you?
They just give me a call because I'm always in the field. Call my cell phone, 602-554-2862. That's the number to call, or send me an email, tjla23@gmail.com. So again, tjla23@gmail.com. It's on my profile on the forum, insurance forum. So give me a call, and we can talk on the phone and figure out if we're a good fit. Tell me kind of what you want to do, what your goals are, and I'll see if I can help you. Going back to what you had said, go ahead.
I was just going to mention you guys can set them up with the contracts at the levels, probably the highest levels that any newer agent or agent writing less than 100 is ever going to find. Which you start them high at the 115s on average, 120, and even 125s on a couple companies. One of them that you actually don't have in your state, but you'll have it available to you if you have agents in states where it exists, is we've got Cincinnati Equitable, which is a 125, a real fantastic company there. You've got Americo, which has the 125, and then most of the others are at 120s, 115s. Oxford is still letting us start agents at 120. They're actually trying to bring their street down a little bit to 110, but it's been at 120 for a while, so we're still maintaining that. So with these contract levels, the training that you are offering, and then the lead programs, which you've got several direct mail lead programs, several telemarketing lead programs available, direct mail for just about anybody in any state at $30 per lead, and that's a good deal on brand new, fresh direct mail leads that will never be resold. That's a big thing. Is these agencies that are reselling leads, you go out there and sell the stuff this year, and then you've got some agent coming behind you that's buying the lead you paid full price for, and gonna buy it for $2 and go out and sell it again next year. That's not the way that we've operated. That's not the way you guys are going to operate with your leads. So they have the leads at a set cost, have the training, have the high contract levels. That's really what an agent needs to be successful with this.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not about, that's not our way. We're not going to be reselling leads and things like that. We're not going to do that. And we do start at those contract levels. We start at those high, because the agent starting is paying for his leads, so we want you to be successful. So we're going to start you at those numbers. What else?
I was going to mention your cell phone again. Go ahead. If you got something else to add. I was just going to, before we finish up, I'll put the cell phone number out there again.
For Jeff, I was going to say, I'll do this for everybody. No problem. For Jeff, I set up his Spanish appointments, and I set them to where there's an English-speaking kid in the house, or the daughter, the son, or nephew, and that works out great for him. So if they come around the Spanish appointment, I'll set that for you. So that's another little arrow to have in your pocket. Make sure you take advantage of every lead that you get.
That's a big and unique feature you can offer, because most of us don't have the ability to do that. I always get agents that call us with that problem. They just don't have any way of communicating, and they always want to know, do you guys have an interpreter we can use, or how do you do this? Well, it's hard to find an interpreter that understands insurance. And with you having the knowledge you have of insurance and being bilingual, that's a huge plus. You better not ever throw that out to the open public that's not in your downline, because you'll have 50 calls a day if agents want you to do that for them.
Yeah, I've done it for a few of my friend agents, and they all like it, but I definitely stopped saying it. So I would only do it for the people in my downline now. Yeah.
You'll get bogged down with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm going to put your cell phone out there again, so anybody listening that wants to contact Jose, just write this down. It's 602-554-2862. And that is definitely a number to store and keep. And especially if you're in those areas of Arizona and California where they're physically located, you definitely want to give them a call and see what they're all about. But anywhere across the country, I would think that New York, we've never really had too much success in New York, because there's so many limited companies there. New York agents, you probably want to avoid if you're only going to take 10 agents on, because the frustration is there's just no companies to work with that are very good. But any state other than New York is available, and you guys can definitely help them get going.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, I'm not sure. I don't know if I said, I probably did. We don't hold anybody's release. We want only people that want to be with us. You don't want to be, then you can go. Yeah. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, you can help agents transition from other agencies. Nobody in this business is ever trapped. I always preach that constantly. Even if you're with an agency that won't release, that's not a huge issue, because normally those companies that won't release are the pyramid agencies, and they've got you tied up with all the mid-packer companies. They're well-known companies, but those aren't the best companies out there anyway. The companies with those super low rates generally are not tied up, and you can get them started with those. You can appoint them, and then after 6 months, they can pick the other companies back up if they're tied up. So you can help anybody, no matter where they're coming from. And if somebody comes on to you that for some reason sees greener grass elsewhere, you'll release them. You're not going to tie them up, because the only reason that you can do that, or we can do it, or the other good agencies that do releases, the reason they can do that is that they don't have that many agents that want to go elsewhere. You are giving high commissions, you are giving training, and you are giving leads. There's not too many agents that will come to you and want to go elsewhere. And I always point that out. The agents that won't release, normally they're not releasing, because if they did, every agent they've got at 80% is going to jump ship on them as soon as they figure out that they're on a low contract. So that's kind of how releases work. But you guys are definitely a good place to go right now, and you're going to be kind of hands-on with a small number of agents, and that's a good way to learn when you're the agent wanting to learn. So one more time, phone number, 602-554-2862, Jose Arteaga. And these guys